far more at Jamaica $1.3 trillion. That means a package covers just 2% of the total damage. So, what is it really for? Are we rebuilding the country or protecting our credit rating? What does that mean as we've extended the NHT transfer? And will that higher tourism tax make Jamaica less competitive? Tonight we break down the numbers behind the 2% solution. Join us for the full investigation on Lead Story Prime at 8. I'm Jody Ann Quarry, and on behalf of the entire CVM production team, thank you for watching Lead Story's Global Lead. Have a fantastic evening, and I hope you stay safe. Up next, CVM News.
Need to estimate your duty? Perform a track and trace? Search for a declaration?
Then download the Jamaica Customs mobile app today. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is 12.
Thanks for joining us for CVM News at noon. It's Friday, February 20, 2026. I'm Amoy Harriet. Up first this afternoon, a violent dispute at a Fesco service station in Whitehorn, Westmoreland has left one woman severely burned and two others in police custody. The incident, which reportedly stemmed from an argument over change for gasoline, escalated into a stabbing and the use of gasoline to set one of the women on fire. People's National Party Councillor Caretaker for the Cornwall Mountain Division, Abigail Malcolm, says the incident has left the community in shock.
I am both friends of the two females. When I mean good friends of both females, and I can tell you they're great individuals. And when I heard of the news yesterday, I was taken aback because I believe it could have been resolved in another way. And one of the problems we're faced with is conflict resolution. We don't tend to work out things in the right and proper way. I'm saying to them, let it stop here, because we don't want this to get out of hand. And I'm hoping speedy recovery for both females, especially Tash. And I am both friends of the two females.
Former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson is calling on the United States to urgently rescind its recent executive order targeting oil shipments to Cuba. In a statement issued alongside former CARICOM leaders, Patterson warned the measure could deepen a humanitarian crisis by restricting access to fuel and essential supplies. The release notes, quote, the executive order, January 29, 2026, by the U.S. against any nation providing oil to Cuba without the imposition of punitive discriminating tariffs constitutes economic warfare and inflicts unconscionable suffering upon the Cuban people. It says the universal principle of dialogue to resolve conflicts and disputes cannot be abandoned on the altar of the mighty powerful waging political vendettas against smaller nations by economic warfare. The consequences of this horrific fuel blockade are catastrophic and constitute cruel punishment of the 11 million civilians by the strangulation of Cuba's vital requirements for energy, food, medication, education, and basic livelihood. End quote. The former leaders are urging the international community to stand in solidarity with the Cuban people. The ongoing Clansman gang trial continuing today in the Home Circuit Court with cross-examination of an eyewitness to a 2017 murder. On Thursday, the witness recounted the final moments of the deceased in the Roger Avenue fatal shooting. Our reporter Carla Ramdeen was there.
The seventh prosecution witness in the Clansman gang trial took the stand on Thursday. The witness and eyewitness to the fatal shooting of a man on September 16, 2017, along Roger Avenue in Spanish Town. The deceased has been identified as George Richards. The witness explained that he was speaking with his neighbor when he heard explosions. The witness testified that he observed several men running up Fairfield and down Roger Avenue. The witness told the court that he saw two attackers, one running behind Richards and firing at him. The witness said he saw Richards running in his direction, appearing to be limping. The witness told the court that he saw Richards fall face down and the attacker continued firing at him while he was on the ground. The witness also told the court that the second attacker was positioned on Fairfield Boulevard, quote, keeping the other persons busy, I guess. That testimony drew a chuckle from the court. The witness said he called the police before proceeding to the scene. The witness testified that upon arriving, he observed people attempting to resuscitate Richards. When asked by the prosecution whether he would be able to identify the attackers, the witness replied, I could, but I wouldn't know because I didn't get a facial. The witness is set to return to the stand as cross-examination will resume on Friday. Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
Authorities are sounding the alarm this afternoon over the growing use of synthetic drugs among young people. The warning comes as illicit drug seizures have surged since the start of the year, pointing to a wider and deepening drug problem. The Firearms and Narcotics Investigation Division says synthetic substances are often the first step. Songs like these, once controversial, now completely commonplace. In recent years, dancehall has turned drug use, particularly synthetic drugs, into a chart-topping trend. Now, synthetic drugs are those created entirely in a laboratory using chemical processes and are often designed to mimic natural drugs or medicines like Molly, Percocet, and fentanyl. In 2023, the National Drug Prevalence Survey revealed that the use of these substances accounted for just below 1% of the population. But if popular culture in 2026 is any indication, synthetic drugs are gaining traction, and the main consumers, young people.
We take it as a serious issue, as a serious problem. Because what we believe synthetic drugs represent is the introduction to illicit drugs to particularly our young people. And we believe that the exposure to these synthetic drugs will allow our young people to develop a greater appetite for drugs, and it may become attractive for them to pursue harder drugs like cocaine and so on.
Superintendent Patricia Rowe is director of the Firearms and Narcotics Investigation Division, FNID. He says the consequences of this trend could ripple far beyond the users themselves.
It may result in the overwhelming of our health sector, greater security challenges, and the challenges that a number of other countries face, countries that are dealing with heavy consumption of drugs, such as homelessness, and the challenges that are associated with it.
And children are also being caught in the crossfire.
Last year we see some synthetic drugs that were being sold to children in the form of sweets. That's a challenge as well. We, apart from our intervention at FNID in terms of our operational and investigative efforts, we also have a demand reduction initiative where we go into the schools, the churches, the communities, and lecture to people, or present to them or discuss with them about the risk of drugs, identifying drugs, and just the dangers associated.
Synthetic drugs aside, Superintendent Rose says the FNID remains focused on seizing illicit drugs as Jamaica continues to be used as a transshipment point. His remarks come after the arrest of 2 people linked to a major drug bust at the FedEx Shipment Center on Halfway Tree Road in St. Andrew on Tuesday, and last month's charges of 2 senior municipal officials caught trying to smuggle cocaine out of the island. The FNID boss warns that as authorities clamp down on the ports, criminals are getting increasingly creative in moving their drugs.
Drugs are being transshipped through regular cargo ships, regular boats, go-fast boats. Some countries some of the traffickers are using submarine.
In this region?
In the Caribbean region, our intelligence suggests that submarine may be involved in some of the activity. Drones are involved. Our effort as a constabulary force, as a division FNID, is to disrupt that.
Meanwhile, Superintendent Rose says he's alarmed by what he calls a surge in firearm seizures since the start of the year. So far, the FNID has confiscated 102 firearms.
That rate of seizure is significant. over 90 per month, which is along the line. Last year we were 80 to 90 per month seizure, which resulted in over 1,201 firearms, which is unprecedented, the highest number of seizures perhaps in over 30 years or more that we have seized. FNID has been responsible for almost 50% of those numbers. This year, based on the trajectory so far, based on the investigative leads, based on the intelligence that is available to us, we will be making more seizures, and we expect that we'll be seizing an unprecedented amount of firearms this year again.
Now, State Minister in the Ministry of National Security, Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn, says the decrease in murders isn't a coincidence, but the product of deliberate policy decisions, sustained investments, and coordinated national efforts.
They demonstrate that a multi-pronged evidence-based strategy works. But they also carry a clear warning. Progress is not permission by complacency. Crime reduction must be protected, deepened, and sustained.
Fresh data from the new survey by Jamaicans for Justice, JFJ, shows most Jamaicans don't believe their rights are protected by the very bodies tasked with safeguarding them. The survey, Citizens' Rights, Roles, Responsibilities and Practices, revealed trust in institutions by citizens is predominantly low to moderate. Executive Director of JFJ, Michael Jackson, is calling for public bodies to work in tandem with the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information and the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs to improve citizens' public trust and civic awareness.
If we have institutions that are meant to serve and protect, how can we improve it? What is not translating? But we should never feel comforted when the trust levels overall is this low. It's work for all of us to do.
Meanwhile, findings from the JFJ's latest survey on citizens' rights, roles, responsibilities and practices echo a universal truth. Human rights are not passive protections, they're active tools. Speaking at the launch of the survey recently, civil society groups encouraged citizens to know their roles, embrace their responsibilities and practice their rights. Crystal Williams has the details.
At a moment when questions of governance, accountability and civic participation are at the forefront of national conversation, the European Union recognizes that when local populations accept that change is needed, their actions can represent the greatest catalyst towards progress. Vanna Lawrence, program manager for the EU's delegation to Jamaica, Belize and the Bahamas, highlighted that each citizen's participation is their democratic right.
To that effect, we encourage all citizens to engage and to form their own opinions on the report being launched today, and to be interested in whether recommendations can contribute to addressing the gaps identified in citizens' participation in the democratic process. It is important to consider whether local action is needed to underline the importance of civic education, of human rights and democracy, and to assist Jamaica and its people to achieve development goals.
Statistics gathered from the Citizens' Rights, Roles, Responsibilities and Practices survey show that 187 participants demonstrated high awareness of their citizens' rights. 96 displayed moderate awareness, while 22 didn't know their human rights. Sandra Gray Alvaranga, Deputy Director of the Institute of Technological and Educational Research, ITA, shares how misconceptions related to social hierarchy, class, or political affiliation can fuel exclusion, erode awareness, and undermine the universality of human rights.
Many respondents mistakenly associate certain rights with employment status, political affiliation, or social class. Someone said, "Me have the right for walk road and not get harassed, but that of the uptown." Again, geography appears to matter. Me have the right to talk, but me have to know who me I talk to. So again, there is an element of silencing that takes place.
According to Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice, JFJ, Michael Jackson, for people to claim their rights, they must know them. She says age and education play a deciding role in rights awareness.
Individuals surveyed actually know their rights. But whether or not that rights awareness translates to acting, reporting when violations have been made is something now that we have to grapple with. And the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, I think this is an important component for them to see how best rights awareness, civics can be taught in schools.
Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
Time now for a break. More when we return.
Every day starts with care. Care that's always close. Supermed Family of Pharmacies is where you go for everything you need. From your morning routine to life's biggest moments. Supermed Family of Pharmacies is always by your side. Whether it's prescriptions or household essentials, trust the care that's close to home. Super happy, super healthy, Supermed.
Hi, I'm Landy. Welcome to NLA Connect, the National Land Agency's customer engagement platform. NLA Connect is a simple, user-friendly platform designed to help you share your feedback, get support, and updates about land-related matters. Available 24/7, NLA Connect allows you to share suggestions, comments, and commendations, submit queries and report issues, attach files with your requests, track requests, and get real-time status updates. Connect with NLA client engagement officers and provide feedback on the service received via the platform. We're making it easier for you to connect with us. You can access NLA Connect via our website, using the kiosk at any of our offices or scanning the QR code displayed at our locations. Need any help along the way? Check out our FAQs section. It has all the answers you need in one location. NLA Connect, your voice, our priority.
Welcome back. We are continuing the news. For vendors in Hague, Ash Wednesday was supposed to be a time of hope and celebration. However, this year's Hague Agricultural and Industrial Show was unavoidably cancelled. Though the vendors say due to recent events, they understand why this cancellation had to happen. They're not lost on the negative effects it's having on the tourism industry. Crystal Williams has the details.
Local vendors who were once excited and hopeful for this time of year expressed disappointment at the cancellation of the 2026 Hague Agricultural Show.
Right now, it's active, bro. Listen, man. I've been looking at my jerks up at the shop and we used to run it for extra and thing, but you know, place locked down.
No go on, nobody visit me. No MP, no councillor, nobody visit me. It's really bad. Call up on the youth them. Without a park and car, make a $1. Nothing go on, be honest. Ask me shop, look at my shop, empty.
This vendor, who goes by Magaman, continues to express his concerns for business owners and other young persons in the community who usually benefit from the showcase, adding that this could possibly open them up to potential delinquency. As the saying goes, the devil finds work for idle hands. Infrastructure still reflects the destruction of the recent Category 5 catastrophe, a reminder of why the roads that were once swarming with tourists are now empty.
We understand, say, yeah, what if I work on to do over there, because basically, no fire building top them gone. So you have to deal with the building top them and all of that.
We miss it, listen me. We don't mind them keep on next show sitting before you're done over there, live out in the community, listen me.
We miss it, you know. Because every year thing, we are looking youth. We born constant thing I keep every year, you know. Best believe, man. But the affect we are looking ways like a place. We have more vibes in the idea. People are past who are busy, meet more people, you see me? International people, local people, same way. There are more vibes, man. So we just miss it a year still. That's it. I hope we come back next year still. Yeah.
Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
Former chairman of the Economic Growth Council, Michael Leachin, says the EGC was a good initiative that should be reinstituted. He laments it was allowed to just evaporate after COVID-19 and argues, like many things in Jamaica, there is no follow-through.
In 2017, there was a lot of hope when the Economic Growth Council was announced, and you, as chair, I remember you were speaking about 5% growth in GDP in 4 years. 5 in 4, it was dubbed, but that all seemed to fade away. It never happened, and the council just seemed to disappear. What went wrong?
Well, personally, I spent a lot of time on that project. I'd come from Canada every other week for 4 years and dedicate 100% of my time to the EGC. We met with over 500 meetings in 4 years, from the IMF, IDB, World Bank, ministries, departments, agencies, customs, police, all sorts of groups. The bureaucracy